London, 1820. A Scottish gentleman steps into a crowded investment hall and makes an impossible announcement. He's Gregor MacGregor, war hero, prince of a country called Poyais in Central America. He displays detailed maps showing boulevards and public squares, official currency bearing his portrait, a flag with red, white, and blue stripes, government bonds promising 6% annual returns. Hundreds of investors crowd around him, mesmerized. Within months, families sell everything they own, homes, businesses, life savings, to buy land in this tropical paradise. They board ships with dreams of starting fresh in a land of opportunity. When they arrive, they find dense jungle, swamps teeming with mosquitoes. The capital city exists only on MacGregor's maps. No government, no infrastructure, no paradise. Gregor MacGregor just pulled off the biggest real estate scam in history, and somehow he almost got away with it. 1786. Gregor MacGregor is born into minor Scottish nobility in Stirlingshire. His family has status but little money. As a young man, he joins the British Army, serving with distinction but achieving nothing extraordinary. The military pays poorly, and MacGregor develops expensive tastes he can't afford. MacGregor marries Maria Josefa Aristigueta, a Venezuelan woman from a well-connected Venezuelan family. This connection provides him social standing and financial support. He serves in the British Army during the Napoleonic Wars, though his military career remains unremarkable during this period. Maria dies, and MacGregor loses the financial backing from her family. Facing debts and limited prospects in Britain, he makes a bold decision. The Spanish colonies in South America are in open revolt, and revolutionary leaders offer commissions to foreign military officers willing to fight for independence. 1812 to 1819. MacGregor fights alongside Simón Bolívar in the Venezuelan War of Independence. He leads troops into battle, captures Spanish strongholds, gets promoted to general. The Venezuelan government grants him land and honors for his service. He genuinely earns the respect of revolutionary leaders across South America. 1820. MacGregor launches a private military expedition to capture Portobello, a strategic Spanish port in modern-day Panama. He succeeds. For 6 days, he controls an actual city. Then Spanish reinforcements arrive and force him to retreat. The expedition costs him money, men, and credibility. He returns to Britain broke. His reputation as a military adventurer precedes him, but glory doesn't pay debts. MacGregor owes money to investors who funded his failed expedition. He faces bankruptcy and social ruin. That's when he remembers the Mosquito Coast.
During his time in Central America, MacGregor briefly visited a stretch of coastline in modern-day Honduras. The indigenous Mosquito people controlled this region. Their leader, King George Frederick, supposedly granted MacGregor a land concession, roughly 8 million acres of jungle and swampland. Whether this grant was real, exaggerated, or completely fabricated remains unclear. MacGregor claims he received the title Cacique of Poyais, a legitimate indigenous rank meaning chief. But MacGregor transforms this obscure land grant into something far more valuable, a functioning nation-state. He commissions artists to design a flag featuring red, white, and blue horizontal stripes with a coat of arms. He hires engravers to produce Poyais currency, beautifully printed dollars featuring his portrait and the national seal. He creates government bonds with official stamps and signatures. He draws elaborate maps showing the capital city of St. Joseph, situated on the Black River, complete with wide boulevards, a cathedral, a parliament building, an opera house, banks, and residential districts. Then comes the masterstroke, the guidebook. MacGregor publishes Sketch of the Mosquito Shore, including the territory of Poyais. This 355-page book describes Poyais in exhaustive detail. The climate, tropical but comfortable with cooling sea breezes. The soil, incredibly fertile, producing 3 harvests annually. The native population, friendly, civilized, eager to trade with European settlers. The capital, a thriving city of 20,000 inhabitants with paved streets and gas lighting. The book describes the government structure, a constitutional monarchy with MacGregor as cazique, advised by a council of ministers. It outlines the legal system based on British common law. It lists the major industries: agriculture, mining, logging, trade. It even provides vocabulary lessons in the Poyais language, a mixture of English and indigenous words MacGregor invents. The book includes testimonials from settlers praising their new lives, economic projections showing guaranteed returns on investment, comparisons with other colonies proving Poyais offers superior opportunities. Every detail reinforces the illusion. MacGregor studies how legitimate colonial ventures market themselves and copies their strategies perfectly. He opens an official Poyais embassy in London's financial district. He appoints a Poyais consul. He wears elaborate military uniforms decorated with medals from his Venezuelan service. He hosts events at gentlemen's clubs, telling stories about his adoptive homeland to wealthy investors. MacGregor's genius lies in understanding his market. Post-Napoleonic Britain faces economic depression. Soldiers return from war unable to find work. The Industrial Revolution displaces farmers and tradesmen. Thousands of working-class families desperately seek opportunities. Meanwhile, Britain's legitimate colonies, Canada, Australia, and South Africa, require substantial capital. Land costs more. The climate seems harsh. Competition for resources is fierce. MacGregor positions Poyais as the solution. Land prices significantly below Canadian rates, climate superior to British holdings in the Caribbean, a head start on civilization thanks to the existing capital city. Most importantly, positions still available in the government and military for early settlers. He targets multiple audiences simultaneously. Wealthy investors can purchase government bonds paying 6% annual interest. Middle-class merchants can buy commercial properties in St. Joseph. Working-class families can obtain farmland for affordable prices. Military veterans can receive officer commissions in the Poyais Defense Force. The scam operates on multiple levels. MacGregor collects money from bond sales, land purchases, appointment fees, and passage bookings. He pockets everything.
September 1822. The Honduras packet departs London carrying 70 settlers. These pioneers include farmers, carpenters, teachers, doctors, and merchants. They bring livestock, seeds, construction tools, furniture, and thousands of pounds worth of trade goods. Many families have young children. Some bring elderly parents. The ship carries a complete colonial administration. MacGregor appointed a magistrate, a harbor master, military officers, and civil servants. Each paid substantial fees for their positions. They carry official commissions signed by the cazique. The journey across the Atlantic takes 2 months. During this time, settlers study their guidebooks, plan their new lives, and imagine their success in Poyais. January 1823. The Honduras packet reaches the Black River on the Mosquito Coast. The settlers see unbroken jungle stretching inland, mangrove swamps along the coastline. No harbor, no buildings, no roads, no sign of the capital city. The ship's captain verifies the coordinates. This location matches MacGregor's maps exactly. The settlers assume they've arrived at the wrong part of Poyais. They search the coastline for St. Joseph. They find nothing. Reality sets in slowly, then all at once. Poyais exists only on paper. The ship cannot stay. Provisions run low. The captain promises to report their situation when he reaches the next British port. The Honduras packet sails away, leaving 70 people stranded in the jungle with no supplies, no shelter, and no way home. The settlers attempt to establish a camp. They clear small areas of jungle. They build crude shelters from palm fronds and salvaged materials. They hunt and fish, though few have wilderness experience. Within days, the reality of the Mosquito Coast becomes clear. The region earned its name from the clouds of mosquitoes carrying yellow fever and malaria. The water teems with parasites. Venomous snakes hide in the undergrowth. The heat and humidity cause rapid decay of food and equipment. Disease strikes first. Yellow fever causes high fevers, jaundice, and internal bleeding. Malaria brings alternating chills and fevers that leave victims too weak to work. Dysentery from contaminated water spreads through the camp. The settlers have minimal medical supplies and no trained physicians beyond basic first aid. People begin dying within the first 2 weeks. Children and elderly settlers succumb first, then the sick and injured. The survivors lack energy to bury the dead properly. Desperation grows. Some settlers attempt to walk along the coast seeking help. They disappear into the jungle. Others try building rafts to escape by sea. These crude vessels capsize or drift away. A few indigenous Miskito people observe the camp from a distance. Some offer limited assistance, fruit, fish, basic guidance on survival, but they cannot support 70 additional people in this harsh environment. 2 months after the first ship departs London, the Kenserly Castle sails with 200 additional settlers. MacGregor continues selling land and positions even after the first expedition leaves. He collects thousands more pounds from families eager to join the colony. This second group includes entire extended families, young couples with infants, skilled craftsmen bringing specialized tools, merchants with warehouses of trade goods. They're even less prepared for what awaits them. The Kenserly Castle reaches the Mosquito Coast in March 1823. The passengers see the remnants of the first group's camp. Survivors emerge from the jungle, gaunt, sick, desperate. They tell the new arrivals the horrifying truth. Panic erupts. Some settlers refuse to leave the ship. Others demand the captain take them to another port. The captain has limited provisions and cannot transport everyone back to Britain. He leaves a portion of the new arrivals with the original survivors and promises to send rescue ships. The combined group now numbers around 180 people. They have more supplies from the second ship, but also more mouths to feed. Disease continues spreading. The death toll climbs daily. News of the disaster travels slowly. The Honduras packet's captain reports the situation when he reaches a British port, but colonial authorities initially dismiss his account. They assume he's confused or exaggerating. Surely the Poyais embassy in London would know about problems in their own country. A British naval vessel finally investigates in May 1823. The crew finds approximately 50 survivors in desperate condition. Most are too sick to walk. The ship evacuates as many as possible, leaving some behind who are too ill to move. A second rescue mission retrieves more survivors weeks later. Some settlers who attempted to escape overland eventually reach British Honduras, modern-day Belize. They arrive emaciated and traumatized. The final death toll remains uncertain. Estimates range from 180 to 200 people dead out of 270 total settlers. Some bodies lie buried in crude graves. Others disappeared into the jungle or sea, never to be recovered. The survivors returned to Britain with nothing. They sold their homes and businesses to buy Poyais land. Their deeds are worthless. Their government positions never existed. They lost family members. Many survivors remain sick with tropical diseases for months or years afterward. October 1823. Survivors reach London and tell their stories to newspapers. The press erupts with outrage. The Morning Chronicle, The Times, and The Observer publish detailed accounts of the disaster. Political cartoons mock MacGregor and his invented kingdom. The Poyais embassy closes overnight. The bonds become paper worthless. Families who stayed in Britain organize. Many lost relatives in Poyais. Others lost their life savings purchasing Poyais land. They demand MacGregor's arrest and prosecution. MacGregor vanishes. He flees London and hides in Paris, then moves around France under assumed names. British authorities issue warrants, but lack extradition treaties to retrieve him. Here's where the story becomes truly bizarre. Instead of staying hidden, MacGregor attempts to defend himself. He publishes pamphlets claiming the settlers arrived at the wrong location. He insists Poyais exists farther inland. He blames the ship captains for incompetence. He produces documents supposedly showing the Mosquito King verifying his land grants. Some investors believe him. The cognitive dissonance proves too strong. These people invested everything in Poyais. Admitting they fell for a complete fabrication means accepting they destroyed their own lives through gullibility. Blaming corrupt ship captains or bad luck feels easier than facing the truth. 1825. MacGregor resurfaces in Paris and launches Poyais 2.0. He targets French investors unfamiliar with the British scandal. He prints new bonds, publishes French editions of his guidebook, opens a Paris office. The French press initially reports on this exciting investment opportunity without investigating MacGregor's history. This time, MacGregor focuses exclusively on bonds rather than settlers. He raises substantial funds from French investors before someone connects him to the British disaster. French authorities arrest MacGregor in 1826. He faces fraud charges in a Paris court. His defense strategy? He genuinely believed in Poyais, based on his land grant from the Mosquito King. He positions himself as a victim of geographical misunderstandings and indigenous deception. The trial drags on for months. MacGregor's legitimate military credentials confuse the case. How could a genuine war hero commit such fraud? His lawyers argued the deaths resulted from settler incompetence and tropical disease, unfortunate circumstances, not criminal fraud. The French court convicts MacGregor on minor charges, but sentences him to time already served during pre-trial detention. He walks free after paying modest fines. MacGregor's luck eventually runs out in Europe. His reputation becomes too notorious to continue new scams. He returns to Venezuela in 1838, the one place that still remembers him as a hero rather than a con artist. The Venezuelan government, grateful for his service during the independence wars, grants him a military pension and a small estate. MacGregor lives comfortably in Caracas, occasionally giving speeches about his military career. He never publicly admits the Poyais fraud. He never expresses remorse for the deaths. He dies in Caracas in 1845 at age 58. The Venezuelan government buries him with military honors. His grave marker describes him as General Gregor MacGregor, liberator of the Republic. No memorial exists for the Poyais victims.
The Poyais scheme represents more than historical curiosity. MacGregor pioneered techniques that modern scammers still employ. He created detailed documentation to manufacture legitimacy. Government bonds, currency, maps, guidebooks, all designed to overwhelm due diligence with sheer volume of official-looking material. Modern scammers use fake websites, forged licenses, and fabricated credentials for identical purposes. He exploited social proof through testimonials and press coverage. Positive newspaper articles convinced skeptics. Settler testimonials created bandwagon effects. Contemporary scams manipulate online reviews, fake social media profiles, and paid influencer endorsements using the same psychology. He segmented his market to maximize revenue. Wealthy investors bought bonds, middle-class families purchased land, working-class settlers paid for positions in passage. Each group received targeted messaging emphasizing their specific desires. Multi-level marketing schemes and cryptocurrency projects employ identical market segmentation. He understood timing. Post-war Britain offered thousands of desperate people seeking opportunities. Economic anxiety makes people vulnerable to promises of easy wealth or fresh starts. Every financial crisis produces new versions of MacGregor targeting people at their most vulnerable. Most importantly, MacGregor grasped the power of dreams. He sold hope, opportunity, and reinvention. The actual land mattered less than what it represented: escape from poverty, social advancement, adventure, freedom. People wanted to believe in Poyais so desperately that they ignored warning signs and rationalized obvious problems. The Poyais disaster killed at least 180 people and financially destroyed hundreds of families. Yet MacGregor faced minimal consequences. He spent a few months in pre-trial detention, he paid small fines, then he retired comfortably on a military pension. The survivors received no compensation. Britain's government launched no investigation into how MacGregor operated openly in London for years. No regulations changed to prevent similar frauds. The system that enabled Poyais remained intact. MacGregor proved that with sufficient confidence, impressive credentials, and understanding of human psychology, you can sell people something that exists only in your imagination. And if you're charismatic enough, you might convince people it's their fault when reality disappoints. The kingdom of Poyais disappeared from maps, but the techniques that built it echo through every scam, scheme, and fraud that followed.